Hey boys, I've got a long-term review for us here. This is some tools I've had right about a year. I'll admit I don't use them a whole bunch, but it's good stuff nonetheless, and I figured you'd like to have a look. Before we get started though, I turned my buddy onto the channel, and he told me if I'm going to be doing tool reviews, I've got to have one of those layout cutting mats to do my reviews on. I thought that was reasonable, but I didn't want to copy anybody. So, there we go. Nice pink mat for us here. I thought it brought out my eyes real nice. What we've got here is Koken Tools 12-point quarter-inch drive socket set. So these are Koken, and they are made in Japan, and they're real nice. First we'll look at the sockets and kind of compare them to some other premium brands, and then we'll look at something that's pretty neat that Koken makes that I don't know of anyone else that makes. As far as fit and finish and look, the sockets are all real nice. They're all real clean. They're all nicely chromed, nicely deburred. No complaints. When you look at them, they're obviously a really nice brand. I've got the 10 and the 8 out for us in the Koken. And then I've also got a 10 and 8 in the Snap-on, and a 10 and the 8 in Proto, and a 10 and 8 in SK. So all very nice brands. This Koken set goes from 4 to 14 millimeter. So we're going to mic these sockets, and then we're going to go on and look at a product that Koken makes that I genuinely have never seen before. I ordered these Koken tools from frankstools.com. From frankstools.com, not frankstools.com. Those are two very different things. One of you will get that. Disclaimer before we start miking, the SK and the Snap-on are 6-pointers, and the Proto and the Koken are 12-pointers. So the chance that I'm not perfectly in on the SK, the chance that I'm not perfectly in on the Koken versus the Snap-on or the SK is highly possible because there's less surface area for me to squeeze against. So we got our Mitutoyo Absolute Zeros, and they're absolutely zeroed. And let's see what we get. Let's start with the SK here. So, how about we change to metric there, big boy? Let's see. Millimeters. There we go. So, there's the SK. 10.19. And that's pretty typical. That's exactly what you'd expect. And the Snap-on 10.19, and the Proto, let's go for the 10 millimeter. How about that? 10.20. And the Koken 10 millimeter is 10.14, so the tightest of the group. Now let's go to the 8 millimeter and see what we get here. 8.14, SK, 8.14, Snap-on, 8.17, Koken, 8.14. And I'll spare you me going through all of these and just tell you the Kokens run either the same size or a tenth tighter than everything else, and that's just across the board. They are not the loose one in the group. That said, I've not come across one that hasn't fit on a fastener. You get them too tight, and then there's a little burr on the fastener from the previous guy's wrench, and then you can't get the socket on. I've not run across that. So these are the sockets. Real good, real nice, real good looking, real solid, and the price is real good also. I don't remember what I paid for these. I'll put it in the comments down at the bottom. But frankstools.com, frankstools.com. Well, boys, I went to frankstools.com and it doesn't look like they're keeping up with things, or maybe not even in business anymore. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But either which way, the product that I'm reviewing is either near impossible to find on their website, or they don't carry it anymore. So I went over to Koken USA, just kind of went through and looked at some information and whatnot. One of the things is they have a video on here. It's an interesting website, not a well done website, but an interesting website nonetheless. Spend some time on it, you'll find that their products are cold forged. Their sockets are cold forged, and they claim that it makes the socket wall thinner and just as strong. They seem plenty strong. We'll put the calipers on the sidewalls and compare them to some other premium brands and see if they are in fact thinner. Apparently, Blackstone Global is this company in Massachusetts that is the U.S. distributor or global distributor for the product. And there is a picture of the Koken plant. It's a fourth generation family owned company. Elsewhere on the website, it says that there are over 140 employees, and their goal is making the best sockets and socket wrenches in the world. So there you go. That's a pretty neat goal. When you go over to the where to buy, you end up seeing this, which is these two web stores. And like I say, unfortunately, Frank's Tools is not listed, so maybe they are no longer a distributor, and that would correlate to what I saw on the website. The product, I went to this toolpan.com here at the bottom. Again, not a great website, difficult to find things on, and did come across the product we are reviewing today. And I know this picture shows a 6-point socket set, and that's the stock photo off of the Koken website. But this is the product we were reviewing, Koken RS 2405M/11, 11-piece quarter-inch socket set. There's all the drive sizes, made in Japan. Toolpan.com for $33 apparently is the place to get this stuff. Well, I'm over here in the quarter-inch drawer, and I figured I'd test the idea that these Koken sockets are a millimeter thinner in the sidewall. So they said a millimeter, so we'll go millimeters. There we go, nice and zeroed. Let's see, this is a Koken 13 millimeter, and we'll check it, 1.37, 1.36, 1.30, just kind of going around 1.42, and then around the outside. .87, right about. Then we've got a Proto 13 millimeter. This is a deep, but it shouldn't matter for the sidewall. 1.17, 1.08, 1.20, 1.10. So 0.2 millimeters thinner overall on the Proto, and 17.42, so thinner in the OD as well. 17.40 about, and this was about 17.7 or 8. Oh, 17.9, excuse me. And then we've got a Craftsman USA here. 1.15. I can tell you already this is going to be thinner. We don't have to go through the whole thing. 17.02. So the Craftsman is the thinnest wall, the Proto next, and the Koken the thickest wall. So the claim on their website that it's a millimeter thinner doesn't apply to this socket set. And if it does apply to this socket set, it doesn't apply to these competitors. Now, I will give a disclaimer that Craftsman is a ½ inch and not a metric. So it's a little bit of apples to oranges there. But if Koken's supposed to be the bee's knees, they should at least be beating Proto, which is Stanley brand and is considered more the industrial tool and not the fine automotive mechanics tool. Let's look at a ½ inch 6-point. So the ½ inch 6-point SK is even thinner than the Koken, and like I said, this is a 6-point socket. So not thinner. Now, I will say this, they say they're cold forged. Now, cold forging is valuable. What cold forging does is you press them in dies at room temperature, the material, and it shapes the part to usually finished size. The advantage to that is you basically work hard in the part. You get a real nice grain structure that is usually axial to the load that you're putting on it, which allows for more twist or torque. So in other words, this socket would have started out as a plate of some sort, and they press it into a die. Well, that means all the grain is in line to the load on the socket, so you should be able to get more twist before you get a fracture. Should. Another place where cold forging is used to great success is in the barrel making industry for weapons. Cold hammer forging produces quite fine barrels, and some of the finer European manufacturers, that's how their barrels are made. Companies like HK, for example, cold hammer forge their sniper barrels. So the cold forging I like, the idea that they're thinner, I'm just not seeing that. I will say this though, again on the cold forging, you may recall these were the tightest tolerance sockets of the group, between snap-on and everything. The Koken was either as tight or tighter, and you can achieve those tolerances more accurately with cold forging than you can with either broaching or hot forging. So kudos for the cold forging, but not necessarily a thinner socket. All right, now let's talk about socket access. Getting into a tight spot. That's where Koken has something that I think is really interesting. Everybody's seen, the wobbly deal, where you can get a little 10, 12 degrees out of it. Everybody's seen a U-joint, and those are always a chore to use. You may have even seen this kind of thing, this little cable deal that'll get you around a curve. Koken makes something different than all of that stuff. So this is the Koken made in Japan 4771Z. Once again, that's the Koken 4771Z. And what you are looking at is a universal joint socket. So you've got your half-inch drive here, and then you've got basically a ball-shaped bolt for all other purposes that is locked in with a lock ring into this socket, and then you got a drive on the end. So you get basically a CV joint motion out of the deal compared to this type where you've got just that sharp corner. Every time you turn, it wants to bind. And then everybody's used these things and had them lock up like this right here, and then want to pop over and not actually apply any torque to the fastener. Everybody's running into that deal. These don't do that. These will twist in line real nice. At first I thought, man, that's going to wear out pretty quick. I've used the heck out of this. It's held up. This is well made. This lasts. Now this is the half-inch drive job, and this is the quarter-inch drive, and it's just as cute as can be. And it is part number, these are impossible to read, 2771Z. Is that the same part number? Oh, this one's 4771Z. This one's 2771Z. And even more interesting than this, or this, is this thing. So this is a double-ended one. So you've got a U-joint into here, and then a U-joint into here. And it is part number 2772Z. And look at the angle you can get on that. And if you hold your ratchet in plane, it'll turn real nice. So in other words, you make sure you're holding the head of your ratchet, even if it's out on an extension way out to here. If you don't let the head of your ratchet flop around, it will communicate really nicely to the fastener. I don't know if that turning is showing up for you, but it is pretty cool. I'll include a video right here of me using this. So that's it, boys. Koken tools. They're nice, they're tight, they're well made, and these universal joint extensions are like nothing else on the market. Thanks, boys. Like, comment, subscribe.